Oh my God, Anita.
Hello, welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I'm your host, Willie Bragg. Let me get my prop up here. I want to first of all thank two people today for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate that. And anybody who subscribed to my channel, all my subscribers, I don't do this enough. Appreciate everybody who has subscribed to my channel and put up with me for the past 2.5 years, and hope that y'all be able to put up with me some more. So there is that. So anyway, I want to discuss the FBI raid in Mar-a-Lago because there's more to it than that, because apparently FBI building was attacked this afternoon in Ohio and all of that. And I'm going to go and talk about that as I gather more information. So there's going to be a story on that. So one story at a time, please. So that's sort of how I operate. So so anyway, what I want to talk about is this New York State Senate race, District 59. That's they're pretty much the online left and the institutional left, the actual left in this country. Those who are self-described socialists, social democrats, even communists, have kind of kept their eyes on, and that is District 59 in New York State. And there's a contentious race going on, already contentious between a corporate Democrat by the name of Elizabeth Crowley, who is the cousin of Joe Crowley. Joe Crowley is the veteran congressman who was defeated by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez back in 2018 in the primaries. Going to get to what we're going to talk about in a minute. A little background regarding this district. DSA, Working Families Party, institutional left, as being referred to these days, are behind Kristen Gonzalez, AOC as well, behind Kristen Gonzalez, who's challenging Elizabeth Crowley. She is a Democratic socialist, and she is the candidate that the institutional left decided to back. Nomiki Konst, who's a contributor to Majority Report, work with the Young Turks, has her own show. She's part of the online left, or what's called BreadTube, one of many. She runs for political office quite a bit, and while her politics is not terrible, she's always in a hurry to run for office, seemingly enough, and she decided she wanted to become a state senator, and it's already been decided that Kristen Gonzalez is a candidate that the institutional left decided to back, and she decided she was going to go there with pretty much identical politics to Kristen Gonzalez to split the vote, in my judgment, whether that's intentional or not. So the guys from over there in St. Louis, Gavin and Zac from the Vanguard, who loves online leftist gossip as bad as I do, decided to go and observe the debates recently between the Democratic candidates in that district, and they observed how Nomiki Konst went basically full Karen. So their reaction was golden, and I'm gonna play their take, and I'll interject with mine as well. So here we go. Give me a moment, and we will get to that. And if y'all haven't subscribed to the Vanguard, I highly recommend it. I like to watch the Vanguard. Interesting guests they usually have and all. So hold tight here. We will get started. And she's annoying, but Nomiki Konst, she provides comedy relief. I'm going to put it on 1.25 for the sake of time, and if I need to slow it down, I will. She does talk fast. Here we go.
You might know, if you've been following our commentary on the New York 59 Senate seat debacle, Nomiki Konst entered this race running as a Bernie Sanders-esque socialist leftist. And the problem is that there's already someone occupying the same exact lane running for this seat. That person is Kristen Gonzalez. She's endorsed by DSA. She's endorsed by the Working Families Party. She's endorsed by basically everyone that's important within the New York City left electoral politics sphere. Everyone from Zohran Mamdani to Tiffany Caban to AOC herself has endorsed Kristen Gonzalez. And needless to say, most of Nomiki Konst's co-hosts and colleagues from shows like The Majority Report are very solidly in the DSA camp. They endorse the DSA slate as a matter of principle, and the fact that Nomiki Konst has jumped in this race and is running against the DSA candidate, Gonzalez, has a lot of people pretty pissed off at her. A lot of people that normally have no issue with Nomiki Konst have turned on her and are calling her out pretty viciously on Twitter, in person, everywhere she goes, online or in real life. She's being met with this harsh criticism, people saying, you're going to split the vote. The fact that you're running against this DSA candidate who the entire institutional left has already got behind, the fact that you're running against her in this race in which Joseph Crowley, in which his niece is also in this race, people are saying that Nomiki's going to split the vote and lead to Crowley winning this election. With all that being said, though, let's take a listen here. They recently did this little debate for the candidates running, and towards the end, they allowed them to ask each other questions. Nomiki took the opportunity not to attack Joe Crowley's niece, Elizabeth Crowley, the centrist corporate Democrat in this race. No, she took the time to attack the option to her left, the candidate to her left, Kristen Gonzalez. She took her.
And this is where I have said she's playing the Elizabeth Warren role in this race, the way Elizabeth Warren played the role that ultimately harmed Bernie Sanders in 2020. And shame on Nomiki Konst, who was an ardent Bernie Sanders supporter. One of the nicest things I can say about Nomiki Konst, she was a Bernie Sanders supporter in 2016, 2020. And she's doing exactly the same thing that she attacked justifiably those that attacked the candidate that I happen to have in common with Nomiki, the candidate we both supported, which was Bernie Sanders. But I'll let continue.
Her time to attack, to punch left. So let's take a listen here. This is pretty unhinged, pretty crazy. She goes full Karen, and we're going to break it down afterwards. So yeah, let's take a listen.
And thank you so much. What I really like about this campaign is it's a 3-month-long campaign. And so as we've gone to different districts, we've gotten to know each other at different forums. And, what Elizabeth has done with Melissa Mark-Vigorito for Speaker in the 21 and 21, I mean, that revolutionize the city. I truly believe, and I'm so sorry, Stephen and Mike, to put you in this position, I truly believe that when we have more women in government, the vibe changes. And for the first time ever, of course, we've had a city council full of women. Melissa Mark-Vitorino, former council speaker, spoke at Matriarchs training, where as of today, we have trained over 500 women, working women across the country who have either already won their primaries in important legislatures like Georgia, or they are currently running, or they are going to be running in the next cycle. Matriarch, I decided to start it with a group of other women, and I've been the director for the last 2 years, to train working class women who face a different set of challenges when they run, progressive women. The progressive world is building its infrastructure, and women often they have to run 3 times before they win, and it's even more difficult if you're in a Republican state where the Democrats kind of abandoned it over the last decade, and it's more difficult if institutions don't back you. So many women have been inspired to run in the last few years since Trump, but they don't have the institutional support. So Matriarch 21 and 21, and there's some other great organizations out there that are doing this work as well.
Thank you so much. I know we haven't given you a chance to ask a question, but I think if we don't get to closing statements, we're going to be way over. So,
no question.
Is that okay?
Can I just do a really quick one? Very simple. Mike, Elizabeth, and Francoise have really generously, I mean, this is not easy to run for office in a somewhat virtual environment, but we've all realized that we have to get the issues clear, and we can't be distracted by any noise and drama. And so, Kristen, I ask you.
Noise and drama from the drama queen of the online left. My gosh, the irony.
All of us signed a clean campaign pledge. Why have you not signed it? You know, this clean campaign pledge talks about attacking other opponents online. It talks about bot armies. It talks about calling out your supporters when they do things. It talks about not harassing people who've endorsed your campaign. There's a long list. You received it. A reporter gave it to you. And I just wonder, why is it you have not signed this clean campaign pledge that everybody else has signed?
She's turning into Elizabeth Warren. She's turning into the snake. Shame on you, Nomiki. Shame on you.
Before Kristen Gonzalez has to respond to this really quickly, I just have to say that monologue that she just gave, that the fact that she used her time to ask that one question, is why everybody hates the left. Let's let Kristen respond, but I want to let everybody know that when people say they hate leftists, that's what they're picturing in their brain. Okay. Yeah, look at the look on her face. Just like, what the fuck are you doing? You take your time not to attack the corporate centrist Democrat that's in this debate, but you take the time to punch left and use Bernie bro tactics. Your supporters are so mean. Why haven't you signed this bullshit pledge that I made up 5 minutes ago? Anyway, let's go back just a little second so you guys can watch this. But yeah, it's about to go down.
And I just wonder, why is it you have not signed this clean campaign pledge that everybody else has signed?
Yeah, thank you for an opportunity to clarify. I actually have not received the clean campaign pledge. We found out it existed from a reporter, and I'll give you exactly the same context that I gave that reporter. We don't condone any bullying, and we haven't followed, encouraged any of that language or behavior on our campaign. And as a young woman, as a Latina, as someone who is also running for office, I've seen the hate firsthand, and I empathize with any that any of you have received. No, actually never received before. So I really do believe we did not receive the campaign pledge. But yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to clarify where we stand on bullying and harassment, because in no way as someone who's been would I ever condone any of that behavior on any campaign.
Call my endorsers personally and ask them why they were supporting me, because we have not factual. You follow me to a poll, and then Assemblywoman's chief came. There's 40 polls in our district, and on election day, less than an hour before, you came with a group of people and came to us.
What if? Oh gosh, let me do this. I hate the little commercial thingy. Give me a second here. Hold on here. Let me do this real fast. While we take care of that, she is acting like a high school. She's acting like a high school mean girl. That is for damn sure. I mean, it's just so petty. It really is. It's ridiculous. We'll continue. Give me a moment here. I just wanted to point that out. Let's see here. La da da. Oh, gosh.
Physically had to be separated from me when he followed me down the street. So we all signed a clean campaign pledge. I know I sent it. I know others sent it. You might say that you didn't receive it.
Nomiki, I don't know what you're referring to, and I'm, again, I that sounds.
It's been on Twitter. Why all right.
We've had you can take this.
My life, I got physically attacked. We had to call the cops on something.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Yes. Oh my God.
So
We
maybe you
sign it today.
Yeah, sign this.
make sure that she's got a copy and she can decide if she's going to sign it or not, and we'll see where that
I
goes.
think the reporter sent it to Valerie.
All right. All right.
Oh, yeah, now she's laughing.
let's,
Okay, let's-
a quick round.
Yeah, now she's laughing. She went from being like, my life has been very much threatened to... Yeah, thanks so much, Valerie. Yeah, thanks so much. Okay, yeah. Obviously, you're fucking performing and you're trying to grandstand and make yourself look good even though you're about to rake home like 4% of the fucking electorate. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so obviously Kristen comes out of this looking way, way better. She took the high road and stayed classy and just let Nomiki Konst melt down and make a total fucking fool of herself. And also the incident that she brings up where she was supposedly like assaulted by the campaign manager and had to call the police, that's been heavily disputed. A lot of people said that that person had nothing to do with Gonzalez's campaign and that it was totally basically distorted or cooked up by Konst to make her opponent look bad. Again, she's only punching left in this race. She's not attacking her corporate opponent, Elizabeth Crowley. She's only going after Kristen Gonzalez with basically what are Bernie bro tactics, saying your followers are mean to me. You're not disavowing your followers. And as David Griscom recently said, who again is a friend of Nomiki Konst, as he said himself, it's the oldest trick in the book in a campaign to make up some pledge, to write some bullshit pledge, and then say, well, why haven't you signed this pledge? Why haven't you signed this pledge, bro? What's going on here? Because either way, you look bad. If you do sign it, then it's like admitting that you've done something wrong or that your supporters have done something wrong. And if you don't sign it, then they can turn around and say, well, why haven't you signed it? What the hell's going on here? In reality, of course, Kristen Gonzalez does not have to come out here and apologize for her followers or her voters or whatever. She doesn't have to apologize for them for pointing out to Nomiki Konst that she potentially is going to spoil this race. That's not incumbent on Gonzalez to like police her fans and say, oh, don't be mean. Don't be mean on Twitter. We don't want to hurt Nomiki's feelings. Bull fucking shit. What do you think this is fucking like? What do you think this fucking is, bro? This is an election. This is politics, and it's taking place in New York City. What, you can't handle a little bit of rude comments on Twitter? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, and
Well, here's another thing to it. This is why Fox News hires Nomiki Konst as a contributor, because she shriek the way she does on the program. She does make the left look bad. Even though she's got good politics, that's the only difference between her and the other liberal commentators that's on the Fox News network. They usually have bad politics, but her delivery is just as bad as a Juan Williams or any other person that's supposed to represent a liberal or progressive on Fox. They're useful idiot. And just when that, and then she'll criticize, Glenn Greenwald and Jimmy Dore will do a better job representing the left on Fox than Nomiki Konst. And Jimmy Dore and Glenn Greenwald gets a lot of shit by some on the left. The Nomiki Konst faction of the left will give them a whole lot of shit for doing it. And you know what? Both Glenn Greenwald and Jimmy Dore, who are neither of them are perfect, articulate their case to a reluctant Trump worshiping audience on issues like Julian Assange or anti-war. The Trump factions are divided on the you have the anti-war faction. They're going to probably like their message, but you might have some people who are the MAGAs who are still caught in Bush Cheney mode, and they're just Republican loyalists that just happen to be loyal to Trump. That you might be able to convince them that invading other countries and drone strikes and things like that are horrible, and that clamp down on civil liberties are horrible. And they do a better job than Nomiki Konst. Nomiki Konst sucks at her job. Just saying.
And I mean, obviously, we've talked a lot about how Elizabeth Crowley, Joe Crowley's cousin, right? The big corporate adversary, right? But it's not just that she's Joe Crowley's cousin. That's kind of an easy descriptor for her and the kind of politics that she's going to bring. She's also taking in troves. I just read an article the other day that $150,000 in New York real estate super PAC money was getting donated to her. I mean, This is a lady that is going to continue to do the bidding of developers. She's going to continue to make Queens and the entire 59th district more unaffordable for residents. She's going to continue to make it harder for working class people to live in any of the boroughs in New York City, right? Like Gavin and I, and everybody's like, you're not from New York City. Yeah. Do you know why Gavin and I have never moved to New York City? Because it's fucking impossible to move to live there. You don't think we've ever thought it would be romantic to move there for, 12 months and, do our show from there? Of course we would. Like, that's a no-brainer, but it's fucking incredibly expensive to live there. And so, you best not to raise the rent for the people who were fucking born there and trying to figure out a way to live. You know what I mean? It's like they don't need jackasses like me and Gavin going there to spend, $1,200 each on a fucking shoebox, and outbid some fucking poor family that's just getting bought. You know what I'm saying? Not that it's a crime to decide to move to New York City. I'm just, giving an analogy. The fact of the matter is, it's like, yeah, Gavin and I often, broad stroke, oh yeah, it's her against, Joe Crowley's cousin, because people know Joe Crowley. They don't necessarily know Elizabeth Crowley, but she is going to go in there and she is going to do her own damage. She's going to stand for the corporations. She is not going to do things, like try and reform.
Introducing Astro Hours. Fast 24 hours during.
Okay, hold tight, folks. Sorry about that. Let me do this. Okay. Basically, point. What am I doing? There we go. Well, basically, as I said, she does a horrible job, representing the left, and that's pretty much it there. Boom. That's yeah. She does she's horrible at her job, and I mean, and it's just kind of like, I mean, and her. As I said, her politics are otherwise generally decent. I didn't have anything against her in my more, you could say maybe more shit libby days. I didn't have anything against her, but I turned against her really by the time of Forced to Vote. I heard her argue against Forced to Vote, and it was cringe. I mean, when she said that even discussion of Forced to Vote back in 2020, early 2021, when it was ultimately decided, and wrongfully so, by the way, by the squad. If I have a criticism against the squad, one big criticism against AOC and the rest of the squad and the allies of the squad in Congress is their non-commitment and their fundamental decision to not do Forced to Vote. To, as I said, I believe that Forced to Vote was the only way that you can actually create a volatile situation during this COVID crisis. This is the only way you're going to go and force a healthcare, some kind of healthcare reform that would be meaningful. Because if it's not now, when the fuck when? And that's basically it. Because you would have forced centrist Democrats to take a stand. You might have even been able to guilt trip some Republicans somewhere. And we might have been, even though public option doesn't go far enough, and I make that clear, we could have at least gotten a public option created at the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, and that's not that much of a worst case scenario, Nancy Pelosi wouldn't have been speaker. Is that so bad? I saw that Forced to Vote was a win-win, but Nomiki Konst wants to go and play it safe. And, at least Sam Cedar, who I'm not the biggest fan of, supported Forced to Vote initially. I mean, he said it himself in the beginning that he didn't like Jimmy Dore, but that was a good idea. That's a good idea, and AOC was like, well, keep the powder dry. Well, the powder is still kept the fuck dry. Still being kept the fuck dry to this day. Force the fucking vote on everything. Honestly. So anyway, I'm since I'm pontificating to the side point and everything, but Nomiki Konst, in my opinion, I said it before and I'll say it again, she's kind of ruined her political career. She's ruined her career in, I think even as a left-wing broadcaster, because what she did, I mean, what she will ultimately be doing if by happenstance Elizabeth Crowley ends up getting the nomination and Kristen Gonzalez doesn't, because let's face it, Nomiki Konst is not going to get the nomination. I wouldn't have been opposed to her running if if the DSA and Working Families Party would have, and I don't see why they wouldn't have endorsed her at some point, but she could have waited it out or run for another political office. Why did she feel like she had to go and try to take it away? And she's going to go and hurt her career even within the institutional level, even within DSA circles and all of this sort of thing. So I mean, this is just ridiculous, honestly. The sort of thing that she criticizes the Green Party for is the sort of thing, and actually makes less sense what she did. At least when the Green Party or the Socialist Party USA or PSL or whatever political group is running a political office somewhere, and they're running against a corporate Democrat, do you think I give a fuck if that corporate Democrat is defeated? Yeah, I hate Republicans winning, but I don't know how much better it is when a corporate Democrat wins. So you don't get shit done. And at least with a Green Party or some other independent left-wing candidate, you're going to go and pressure the Democrats to doing what is right. And if they lose, it's their own damn fault. But she'll criticize them all day long, but then she'll be a spoiler inside of a Democratic primary, which I am sympathetic toward Kristen Gonzalez as an independent voter. I'm in Green Party down here in North Carolina, and I'm rooting for Kristen Gonzalez. Yeah, I admit it. I don't expect miracles from her. A friend of mine said that she's basically an AOC clone, and I could see that. I can see that, and so is Nomiki Konst in many ways. But you got basically one AOC clone against the other AOC clone, and Kristen Gonzalez is a better AOC clone against Nomiki Konst, who's a bad AOC clone. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it too. So I'm not expecting miracles, even if Kristen Gonzalez wins. But she's obviously, in this particular race, the best candidate of everybody running, and I do wish her well. And if I lived in New York, I would vote for Kristen Gonzalez. I make no apologies about it. I mean, I wouldn't do any harm to vote for Kristen Gonzalez. So, see what she can do. If she gets the nomination and she wins, let's see what she can do as a New York State Senator in District 59. And as a result of this particular race in New York, District 59 with the primaries, I'm going to provide one little last commentary on this Nomiki Konst Kristen Gonzalez race, because I got something to say about on Twitter: nudge left, don't push, from District 59. Okay, we have here on the chat line, we have Fireball Russ. How are you doing today? Propaganda Alive. Willie in the house. Night shift team. I'm about to go to work. My friend, how are you doing, Propaganda? I got to have you on my show one of these days, by the way. I would like to have you on my show. I'm just saying, just kind of tossing that out there. Just wait till you see my video review of this video review of a video review. Tom, that's the online left in a nutshell all the way through. It's not just that they're not perfect. They're actively perpetuating right-wing propaganda and anti-intellectual reactionary position. Pretty much, we shoot ourselves in the foot all the time. It's what the left likes to do. Well, we don't like to do it, but it's just what we do by default in America. Just the American left shoots itself in the foot perpetually. Greenwald or Dora, that is. I think that they do a good job representing the left as far as going on Tucker. And to this day, I will die on this hill, no matter what I think of Tucker Carlson. And I have my views on Tucker Carlson. I don't agree with Tucker, but I am grateful that a left-wing point of view is allowed on that program and allowing it to be said, because Again, Greenwald and Dorr are not saying MAGA's awesome. They're not going around saying we need more market reforms and healthcare. They're not saying we need more war. They're not saying these things. They're not saying, they're not saying these things. They're saying what the left is saying. And for some reason, there are people out there that they're saying that these folks are right wing. So crazy. The world's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Konst, to be honest. Gonzalez seems more like a clear progressive choice, and that's where I am at myself. Let's see, doing great. How are you? I am doing good, Fireball. So if you like, and I have an announcement here. Saturday, August 13th at 3 p.m. Radical Leftist Agenda will be guests on the Willie Bragg Show. The chat will be pretty much an hour. The interviews are usually an hour. We'll be chatting. She's an online leftist commentator, and she and I will be discussing, our role on the online left and the great work she's doing, because she's got a great channel. And I urge y'all to go ahead and to subscribe to her channel if you ever get a chance to. So anyway, if you like what you heard, press like and comment. Comment any way you disagree with what I have to say. We will have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Also, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and keep this in mind that we must always reject corporate media because they have absolutely nothing to offer. And if you must watch corporate media, watch it with a critical eye. Here's where we will part ways and wish y'all a great evening. So I'm on my way to work. So I will conclude by saying to you all, music. Take care.